Hi guys, welcome back to the James Bond Show. With no fears, limits or substitutes, and we've got a special show for you today. Now, first of all, before I jump into the show, which is going to be about my top 10 no actors to be the next James Bond, basically the top 10 actors I do not ever want to see playing James Bond, I'm going to introduce you to someone very special here. As you guys know, once again, I love to bring my animals involved in the James Bond show. Maybe it's the Dr. Evil or the Blofeld in me, but this is a little fella here that you've never seen before. This is Bosco. He is my beloved cat, and on December 23rd, Bozzy Bear here will be turning 19. So he's almost 19. So on December 23rd, he'll be 19. And I hope he's going to get to 20. So he's my Bozzy Bear. So say hi to everyone. Hi, Bozzy. Say hi to everyone at the James Bond show. All the subs. Alright, guys. So I'm going to sit Bozzy next to me. He's an old boy. So hopefully he'll just sit here. And interesting fact about Bozzy. He was born in my cupboard on December 23. And a friend and I, we were out. My friend, he had the hots on this girl. So we were working, me and him, we were working in a bar together. So this is back in, 2000. And we were working at this bar together, my mate Nick and I, and he wanted to go check out this chick who worked at a shop at a local shopping centre. So we went down there and everything. Anyway, we came back and I'm like, Millie, where's Millie? Millie was Bozzy's mum. And I open up the cupboard door and there she is giving birth to Bozzy and his little brothers and sisters. And so he's been with me ever since that day. And I actually had to pull him out of his mum, so because he got stuck. So he's very, very special to me. And I just thought I'd have to bring him onto the James Bond show one day. And here he is. Okay, guys, so let's get into this. Now, guys, first of all here, what I really want to do is thank one of my subscribers for this great idea, Tamraj Kilvish. So I hope I've pronounced your name right, buddy. So Tamraj Kilvish, he's an Indian James Bond fan from the great land of India, where of course Octopussy was filmed back in between 82 and 83, of course, and released in 1983. So Tamraj is one of my subscribers. And his idea, I said to him, what would you like to see a video on? And Tamraj said he'd like to see a video on actors, potentially playing James Bond. So what I'm going to do is, today this is going to be my top 10 list of who should never play James Bond. And then as of tomorrow, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do a series of videos of my top 10 actors who could play James Bond, but I'm going to do that daily. So build up the suspense a bit until I get to at least my top 3. So that's what we're going to do. So, okay guys, so this is kind of roughly put together. Now, I'm going to pre-head this by saying, okay, the obvious choice I never ever want to see play James Bond is a woman, okay? So all women, all female are in that. I don't need to say Amelia Clark or Gillian Anderson or Gillian Anderson, whatever her name is. I don't need to say that, or Emily Blunt. All women, no. Because James Bond is a male character. James Bond! Male. Now, if you left-wing SJW twats out there, if you want a female James Bond, go and create it yourself. Because it wouldn't be James Bond anyway. But if you want a female spy, go and hire Salt or buy Salt on DVD or some other female spy films. Go create your own. Stop piggybacking off what Ian Fleming created and what the fans love and what we've propped up at the cinema screen for 57 years. Okay, guys, so honourable mentions here. Honourable mentions are to Richard Armitage. I just think he's too old, too crusty looking, and I don't know, to me he's as dangerous looking as wet paper. Okay, so Richard Armitage. Now, okay, I'm going to start off here with number 10, and it happens to be another Richard Madden. Okay, to me, Richard Madden, who's been touted as Daniel Craig's replacement, to me, Richard Madden is just... If you go down to a pub and you see 100 blokes in there at the pub, you'll probably find about 15 that will look, or maybe 30 out of 100 that will look like Richard Madden. He just doesn't look like James Bond to me. He looks like a plumber or an electrician or a Sparky or a tradie type. So to me, he just doesn't have that X factor. He just looks like a little skinny weed. Now, I know Daniel Craig looked like a skinny weed before he got the role of Bond, but he still had X factor in his eyes. So Richard Madden is at my number 10. Number 9, Christian Bale. I never want to see Christian Bale play James Bond because he didn't want the role. His name was on the list years ago, and he came out and he said that, well, I wasn't interested because I've already played a serial killer. So he's too old. He's a brilliant actor, don't get me wrong. He is, to me right now, he's the best living actor on the planet. But is he right to play James Bond now in his age? No, he's not. So I've got him on the list because he's mentioned often in lists. Now, what I should have said earlier is, my list, what I did for research on this is I've gone through so many mainly garbage videos and garbage YouTube channels like Watch Mojo and all that. And so I've gone for most of the people that they've touted and they've pushed to be James Bond. I thought that would make sense to do it that way. So that's how I've done it. Okay, guys, so number 10, Richard Madden. Number 9, Christian Bale. Number 8, James Norton. He's the guy from McMafia. I just don't see James Norton as James Bond, despite him having a great first name. When he talks, he kind of sounds like Mickey Mouse on helium, you know? Hey, Pluto! Honestly, that's how he sounds, so no way. Okay, so number 7, Luke Evans. Again, I think Luke Evans is a good actor. Now, Luke Evans is the guy who's in the last 7 or 8 Fast and Furious films. He played the Beast in Beauty and the Beast as well. He's got an interesting look about him, and I think he's a good actor, and I like him. It wouldn't be an abhorrent choice, but he's too old now anyway, I think. And I don't know, I think maybe a bit too straight for James Bond for me. And again, Luke Evans is often touted as the next Bond or put up there in the list of, top 10. So that's why I've included him in this. And for me, no, he's not right as James Bond. So I've got Luke Evans there at number 7. Now, number 6, Tom Hiddleston. Now, Tom Hiddleston's still at a fine age to play James Bond. There's no doubt about that. To me, Tom Hiddleston, he's Tom Hiddleston. You know what I mean? He's always going to be Loki to me. And they talk about him in The Night Manager being his audition. Now, I didn't catch The Night Manager because it didn't come on TV in Australia here. Not the free-to-air TV. So I've caught up with Tom Hiddleston in The Night Manager on YouTube and seen clips and episodes, whatnot. If that was his audition for James Bond, then, as I always do, I think that's becoming my famous catchphrase, isn't it? Or one of them. So that, or ding 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 ding. So Tom Hiddleston, no, he's too girly, he's too weak, his voice is girly. I mean, he's one rung down from James Norton and that, hello Mickey, hello Pluto, that voice. Okay, so number 5, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Damian Lewis, again, good actor. I really like Damian Lewis, great actor. I think he'd be a great guy to have a beer with at a pub, but he's not Bond. He's a little squat-looking ginger ranger. He was great in Band of Brothers, loved him in that, and my mum has got a big crush on this guy. Hi, Mum. But Damian Lewis, and he looks good in a suit, I admit that. But he's a bit too old, he's a bit crusty, and just imagine Sean Connery, image of Connery, and Damian Lewis. No, so that's why Damian Lewis is on the list. Okay, number 4, Clive Owen. Now, Clive Owen, someone put up a thing on the Facebook page, on my Facebook page, the Real James Bond fans. Come and join, guys, if you haven't. And they put up about, Clive Owen could have been a great James Bond. No. Clive Owen, to me, looks like a male librarian. He's too puffy-faced. maybe 15 years ago, maybe back in the running with Daniel Craig for the role of Bond, potentially. And I know people say he was in the Bourne Identity, or whichever one that was, the first one, Bourne Identity, as the assassin guy. But no, he's just, to me, he's just not James Bond, and he's way too old now, so that's why he's on the list. Okay, coming in at number 3, Tom Hardy. Okay, Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy looks like a garbage truck dude, or he looks like a plumber. Brilliant actor, probably the second best actor on the planet right now, behind Christian Bale. Can go into any role, I get it, but he's like 5'6". He looks like a short, squat plumber. I think there would be issues between him and Barbara Broccoli and Eon. I don't think he's got the temperament to be James Bond. He doesn't have the right look to be James Bond. And I just don't like Tom Hardy for James Bond. And I don't think he'd be a great ambassador in the interviews as well, because, well, he's a bastard to interview. I love him though. Personally, I think he's great, but not for the role of James Bond. Okay, so number 2. Oh, I hate this guy. Okay. Number 2, Cillian Murphy. Spelt with a C. Often used to think, is it Cillian or whatever? But Cillian Murphy from Peaky Blinders. Whoever thought of the idea, and I think it's mainly betting agencies that come up with this, the idea of Cillian Murphy to play James Bond. You know what I say to you? My other catchphrase here. Get off the crack! No! Well, seriously, are you on crack? Cillian Murphy is garbage. He's a freak. He looks too old. I don't know what's happened to his face. I think that's what happens when you drink too much baby's blood over there in Hollywood, because he used to be a good-looking young fella in like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. He was in the start of that, and the guy's a nut job. He is honestly a nut job. He came out and he said, I don't want to play James Bond anyway because the next James Bond should be a woman. That's actually what he said. He's on record saying that. He wasn't joking. He was very serious. And then he started crapping on about equal opportunity and diversity. Seriously, Cillian Murphy, you're a knob. Okay, so my number 1 choice who should never play James Bond. Now, this is probably not going to be a surprise, but let's do the drum roll. Number 1! Idris Elba. But wait, there's more. You get steak knives. I'm going to chuck in every black actor, including, what's his name? Chiwetel Ejiofor, whatever the guy's name is, I can't pronounce it. He was in that film with Benedict Cumberbatch. Honourable mention here, Benedict Cumberbatch should never play James Bond. But Chiwetel Ejiofor, whatever his name is, no. Idris Elba, no. Let me give you a quick education. Ian Fleming's James Bond is a 6'1" white British agent who has a Swiss mother and a Scottish father. Okay? Andrew Bond and Monique Delacroix are the parents of James Bond. He's got a wife, he's got a history, it's all in the novels. You make James Bond black, the novels do not exist. You've just got a black action hero. Okay? And then people that say, oh, but Idris is British. Well, so is an Indian guy. No offense, Indian guys, but Indian people, real James Bond fans, Indian people, they don't want an Indian James Bond. You guys don't want Dev Patel to be James Bond. You know, Mexicans don't want, I'm trying to think of a Mexican actor. They don't want a Mexican actor, Javier Bardem or whatever, as the next James Bond. Bond is white British, and that's why we love him, because he's got that panache, that class, and that style. And he's also got the history, so you got the films and you got the books. So, also, Idris Elba, to me, he's not a bad actor, but he's not a great actor either. All this stuff about him being a great actor, have a look at the films he does that he headlines. They flop, or they're not making money at the box office. So, no to Idris Elba. He's also too old now. If they are doing these ridiculous 3-4 year time gaps between the films, he's going to be about 100 years old. He's going to be older than Methuselah by the time he gets to do his 4th James Bond film. So, no to Idris Elba. And honestly, a lot of women don't even find the guy attractive. Now, as a male, I can say and as a heterosexual male, I can say if men are good looking or not. Pierce Brosnan, good looking. Timothy Dalton, good looking. Idris Elba, to me, he's just not good looking, and I don't think the ladies would buy it. in the audience out there at all. So guys, that is my list. I would love to know in the comments below what you guys think of Krazy Kajeevie's list here at the James Bond show of the top 10 actors who should never play James Bond. Now, if you've got a name and an idea that you think should never play James Bond, please leave it in the comment section below. And guys, I'm going to see you tomorrow, starting with my top 10 countdown of actors that could play James Bond. We're going to do one a day. Okay guys, so you know what I always say at the end of the show. Until next time, keep on bonding.